So in summary, I didn't play the. I think I threw away a few small percentage points in late game situations where I was pretty far behind. But I generally did not like the Merfolk deck in the matches I played. That may have been because my Master of Ways were not very good twice, and that's kind of a problem for this list. It may have been because the sideboard's not perfectly configured to hit the decks that I played. But just, I'm not. I don't think that the output of your linear strategy is powerful enough to justify the fact that it's slower and that you're short on interaction. Uh, I could just be playing a creature combo deck and do a lot of the same things and be probably just as good. Like, I actually think that the best comparison is that Merfolk is a bad Bant Nightfall. I think that Bant Nightfall is just a much, much better Merfolk deck. Your cards are all individually powerful. Um, they're more interactive. Spell Queller is a magic card. Oh my gosh, that is a card. That one's good. Um, yeah, Mood Vault's nice, but I think there's other ways to make your mana work for you. I did not feel like Spreading Seas was hampering my opponents significantly enough, and it might just be more matchup specific. Uh, Curse Catcher was generally easy for a lot of the stuff to play around, like not hitting Engineered Explosives is a problem. Losing my entire everything to Engineered Explosives is a problem. Um, these might not be the most common problems, but like I said, I don't think the baseline. The way I approach Modern is I try to find a deck that is baseline good and then can address a lot of specific problems. And I think Merfolk is like baseline okay and then doesn't have access to a broad ability to address specific problems because the fact that its core is semi-interactive but limited in how it interacts. And then like so, there's not like a lot of because you're mono blue here, you can't make when I play a deck like Obzon Company, I can sideboard into like Thoughtseize that hedges a little somewhere, or like Sculler that does a little bit against all these things, and you can compile a good sideboard configuration against a lot of stuff. Whereas here, my cards are pretty one note, and it makes it a lot harder to compile a sideboard plan that works. I think that that's a big drawback of this deck. I think that that's a big drawback of similarly the like white black Eldrazi decks have a similar problem where their like linear game plan's not great. Their interaction is very conditional. Eldrazi Tron has a similar problem, albeit with the disclaimer that like just casting Thought Nuts here is interactive and powerful, so you get a lot of both sides there. Um, I'm just generally not a fan of a deck like this against an open format like Modern, just because you don't like you often don't pass the baseline of is your deck better than your opponents in a straight out race, and then beyond that, your cards. It's very easy for your cards just to miss your opponent. Um, Whereas with other decks, that's not the case. So I don't think I'm going to be playing Merfolk much more in the future. I can understand there's probably metagames where the deck's really good, but that's not how any of the modern events I plan on playing. Once you hit a certain threshold of size, there just isn't a metagame in modern. There's just an amalgam of decks. And I can't approach a Grand Prix or a Star City Open this way. So just reconfirming that I'm not going to be playing Merfolk, sadly.